Can you mute everyone, or can I? I'll mute everyone.
Okay, guys, welcome to the team call. I'm so excited that we have Amber Bailey on the call today. She is a mom of two and two cute little boys, and she also is a former educator and teacher. And this woman is a powerhouse. She's got a graduate degree, I think, in educational leadership, and she lives in Texas. And Amber was actually a coach that I worked with at when I worked at corporate. And Amber just has a tremendous story, because I remember talking with Amber and she's like, I'm done teaching. Like, I love teaching, but I want and need this. And so she went from, she took a big leap of faith in herself. I mean, it's cool. She took a leap of faith saying, okay, I'm not going to renew my contract to go teach. And this was in the summertime of, I think it was like 12, summer of 12, I think.
Yeah.
And she just said, I'm not going to renew my contract. And so she made a decision, I think it was in June, that she's not going to renew in July to start teaching in August or September. And I remember being like, okay, are you sure? Like, are you really sure? And she's like, I'm going to do this. So Amber is very much like, you guys are going to see a different part of Amber. You're going to see the leader in her. But back then she was very quiet, but Amber, I mean, all that quiet demeanor belied a giant. And she's really thrown herself into this as far as coaching is concerned in a very consistent, measurable way. But she's just been a tremendous leader and has found some wonderful coaches, and she has built culture, and she has far exceeded, I think, what maybe she even expected to when she and I had that conversation back in the summer of 2012. So in just over 4 years, life is, well, not just now, but within like 18 months of making that decision, life changed in a huge way for Amber. So I'm just super happy that she's here. She's a 6-star lifetime diamond. She's created 6 diamonds, and she has a 3-time elite coach, and she's coming all the way from Texas, and we're just super to have you here. And she is a wonderful mom and a devoted wife, and she's just awesome. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Amber, and let you roll.
Great. Well, thank you for that introduction. I know when I decided to not teach, Kobe was freaking out a little bit because I really just wanted to make enough so that it made sense for me to be able to stay home with our boys. And so that amount of money, I was close to it, but it wasn't quite there yet. And so I'm sure it made everybody a little nervous when I decided to step away. It made me a little nervous, but I think that it just kind of goes back to there was no other option. So it was either this or nothing else. So I had no plan B. This was my plan. And so I think that I kind of backed myself into a corner, so to speak. And that really is when things started to take off. So I have slides. I know you're shocked. Is there a way for me to share that? If not, I don't have to. I can just talk.
At the bottom, it says screen share.
Oh, got it. Okay. Hang on just a second. Let me make sure I got it pulled up. All right. Sorry. Now you're going to see my super messy desktop, but there we go. All right. So I love this title, Kobe and Ashlyn. I mean, they named this call. And so I was like, wow, that's what they want me to talk about, growing and owning the giant in you. And so, like, I've been processing this over the past week. And so, it's always an honor when somebody asks you to be on their call, but what's really, it's like a double blessing because then I am starting to think about all of these things that have happened over the last 5 years that I get to talk about. And so I just like permission to talk to y'all, not as an elite coach, not as whatever, coach, whatever like accolade you want to list off. But I just like to talk to you as a fellow coach. Just kind of like coach to coach, heart to heart, not somebody that, oh, look what she's done. Because we all start in, like, we all start at ground zero. So that's kind of what I want to talk about here. Is that I started where you're at. No matter where you're at, we all kind of start from some humble beginnings. And so I like to think about my past, because I feel like your past does not define you, but I feel like our past leaves clues. So when I think about my childhood, I promise I'm going somewhere here, but when I think about my childhood, there's certain things that happen that when I look back where I am right now, I think, oh, it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense that I'm right here speaking on this call, that I have this amazing team over here. It totally makes sense. And so, like, some things that happened in my past, at church, I was like the smallest one. Like, I'm physically just a very small person. And so I always said the same part in the Christmas play. And it said, although I'm very small, I'm big enough to say, happy birthday, Jesus, on this special day. Every single year, like clockwork, that was my line. And so in third grade, I was the mayor of my class. I'm saying things that Kobe doesn't know about me. And so, he worked with me when I was growing my business. And so he probably, like, you're probably like, I didn't even know that. But I was mayor of my third grade class, and my slogan, get this, was little people can do big things. And so, yeah, isn't that cool? And like my campaign manager, he was the like star football player of our high school. So he's the one that helped me like make all the signs and stuff. So, and then high school comes or actually middle school comes, and I try out for cheerleading, and I was awful, horrible, terrible. Didn't make it. So I worked really hard that next year, and I tried out again. My mom didn't come to the tryouts because she just kind of knew, like, there's no way on God's green earth that this child is like going to be a cheerleader, And so that competitive aspect of me, though, like, I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to do this. And so I made it. I made it. And then every year after that, until I graduated high school, I had to try out again. And so it's like you have to pay rent on your success, right? It's never a given. So every single year, I was never the best, but I worked the hardest. And so after practice, I would stay late. I would do like toe touches, and like we didn't have a mirror, but we had this sliding glass door, and I would go outside and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in a row. And so I think about that and all of these things that have happened in my past, and there are some more examples that I can give you, things that I wasn't necessarily good at the time, but that, like, when I think about them, that those things have left clues as to where I am right now. So I just kind of like for you to think about, because everybody has a giant, right? So coaching has brought out this giant in me, but it's not that that giant was ever gone or missing. Well, maybe a little bit. The giant was always there, and it was more present in certain seasons of my life, but life happens and you get squashed, right? So got married and like had kids, and then, as the story goes, like things got really hard, really, really hard. And it was a really rock bottom place in my life when I started coaching. And I started coaching mainly just to help myself get healthy. But I wasn't living out my giant. And so there was like this inner conflict, right? I was really wrestling with that. And I remember telling somebody, telling this lady at my church, like, I just, like, something is wrong. Like, I am not living out my potential here. And I could feel it in like the bottom of my soul that I wasn't living out my potential. And I knew that I wasn't in a good place. And so all of this to say, though, going back to your past, it leaves clues. And so I know that as I'm saying this right now, many of you are probably thinking back to that time when this happened, or that time when you accomplished something great, or you did something that made you feel good and like you were using the gifts that God's given you, right? And so think about those things and think about where you are now, because coaching and this whole opportunity is really just one big growth plan. I don't know if you realize it or not, but you are truly on like this massive growth plan as a coach, and you have to grow to your goals. And so your past leaves clues, your story provides hope. So no matter how things have been in the past, like, you know, I had a really like difficult few years in terms of like the bottom just falling out of everything. And I'm not going to get into that other than to say that that was rock bottom, but that wasn't my excuse to not pursue this and to not coach and to not share and help other people, because what happened in return is that I was helped. I had no business running a challenge group because I didn't even know what a challenge group was. We didn't have challenge packs. We didn't have challenge groups. We didn't have training. We didn't have emerald push groups. We didn't have diamond. We didn't have nothing. But what we did have were amazing products. And what I did have was my story. And so I just said, I'm just going to see how this happens. And I'm just going to start this group over here, and I'm going to try to help some people because this is helping me. And what ended up happening was that, yeah, I'm sure that they were helped, and I'm sure that they, you know, accomplished whatever goal they were trying to accomplish at that time. But I was blessed in the process, and I grew from that in the process. And that gave me life. And it gave those other people in that group life. And so I wanted more of that. And I knew that this was something that could not just change me and our family, but could change a lot of lives. And so when you share your story, no matter what place that you're in, it provides hope for other people. And so, and then your future is in your growth. So no matter what's happened in the past, no matter where you are right now, you have great things inside of you that are just waiting to come out, but you're going to have to grow to that, and you're going to have to grow through that. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. So I think that, you know, I talked about as a coach, you're on this massive growth plan. So as a coach, you really have to be a lifelong learner, and you have to be willing to get uncomfortable, right? Because in order to grow, like, you're not just going to be able to stay where you're at and get comfortable with where you're at. You're going to have to be willing to step out and take action. There's no way that, so Team Fit Revival is over 6,000 people strong. That's a whole lot of people. It's crazy. And never in my imagination could I have ever thought that that would be the case. I decided to get healthy for me. Then I decided to pay that forward. Then in the fall of 2011, I ran my first challenge group. And from there, it's the compound effect of what happens when you do that over and over and over consistently every single day, as far as the vital activities that come with filling those challenge groups. So when we talk about growing and owning the giant in you, this is how I owned it. So, you know, it wasn't, I say all this to say it wasn't necessarily easy, but it's definitely worth it. And so Kobe did teach me to visualize your why. I thought this was super cheesy at first. I'm not going to lie. I'm type A. I'm like a Ruby personality. I just want to get stuff done. And I really don't want to sit there and think about it, you know, or picture it, how it's going to look like or smell like or feel like. But I'm here to tell you, you have to do that. You have to think about those things. What is it going to feel like when you get to stay home with your children? What is it going to be like when you don't have to ask off for work so you can go on a field trip with your child? What is it going to feel like when you get to be home when they come home every day, or pick them up from school or drop them off? Every single day, I walk my kids into their school. And every single day now, they go to the school of our choice. So that is something that I don't take for granted. And every time I walk into that school, like if I start talking to somebody, I cry because I am so grateful for the fact that I came from a place where I was at school and my kids were at home, and that devastated me. So now I'm at home and they're at school, and I get to be as much a part of that as I want to. And we have a lot of choice and a lot of time freedom. And so when I tell you to visualize your why, it's because you have to make it your reality before it is your reality. And so that's super important, because there are going to be things that come into your mind that try to get in the way of that. So in order to own your giant, you have to be passionate about your vision. And part of that is visualizing your why. When I get on the phone with somebody about my challenge group or coaching or whatever, I tell them how I got started, and I communicate how this team got started, and I make sure that they know the heart and the vision behind what we do before anything else. Part of owning your giant is being action driven. This is like one of my favorite things, because this is my wheelhouse right here. And I know everybody is different, but for me, I've got a list. I'm going to check it off, and I'm going to do it every single freaking day. And I mean that from people ask, how did you do XYZ? Well, this is how I did it. Kobe and Ashlyn can tell you, you do your invites, you do your finds, you do your connections with people, you drink your Shakeology, you do your workout every single day. That's what you do. That's what you have control over. Kobe taught me one of our first conversations. You have to do those, we call them income building activities now, but at that time we called them business building activities. You do those first. Those are your priorities. And then the things that are business related, that maybe it's a fancy blog post, or there's a million things I could list off here that are good for your business, but that aren't necessarily those core activities that have to be done first every single day. So if you're going to own your giant, you have to be action driven, and you have to do the things that maybe aren't super fun or super glamorous, or that you want to do. Maybe sending out that invite to that person would make an awesome coach is really frightening and makes you sick to your stomach. But if you don't feel like you're sick to your stomach about doing something every single day, then you're probably doing something wrong. Sorry. There's a little tough love, but one of my coaches says, if I don't feel like I'm going to vomit every single day, then I know I'm not doing it right. And that's just her personality, right? But you have to have that knot in your stomach, and you have to be willing to take action anyways. So the other part of owning your giant is just to be grateful and take care of what you have. Stop dwelling on what you don't have. For me, when I started this and I started to go all in, I was teaching. We weren't even allowed to have our phones on, could not even be visible. So there was no time. And so I could have complained about the time that I did not have, because I truly did not have a lot of time. When I got home, it was dinner, it was kids. And so what I did for my business happened late at night, early in the morning. So instead of complaining about that, you dwell on what you do have, and you take care of it, and you be thankful for it. And so I think that that's super important, because we can start thinking, well, I don't have this resource. I don't have this amount of time. I don't have this. I don't have that. It doesn't matter. Take care of what you have, and stop dwelling on what you don't have, and be thankful. If you just have 2 challengers, be super thankful for those people. Give them your best, and continue to invite, of course, but don't be down on yourself about that. Be grateful. Be coachable. You have some of the best mentors in the business. So if I can just edify Kobe and Ashlyn, I hope that when you get on the call with them, you know, like, they are amazing. They have changed my business. They have changed my life. So you have a gold mine right here of wisdom and heart. They truly love you, care about you, and want the best for you. And so that's pretty amazing. So I hope that when you have the opportunity to get on a call, to have a one-on-one with them, or whatever the case may be, that you not only listen to what they have to say, but that you take action on that and come back to them the next time, knowing that you did the best with the information and the wisdom that they gave you. It's just about being coachable, right? There's a lot of people doing the same things, getting the same results. I've been doing the same core activities for the past 5.5 years. And that has what, I was going to get out. I have this big old stack of notebooks, like literally it's that tall. And although I don't really run my business out of a notebook anymore, like, I keep those notebooks because they are full of names, they are full of lists, they are full of ideas. It was my business the first 3 years. So anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but definitely be coachable and listen to your mentors, and then be resourceful. I see this as one of the biggest indicators of success for coaches, is that they are resourceful. And that means investing in yourself, investing in your skills, and investing in your team. And by investing, sometimes, yes, that does mean you spend your money on something. Maybe it means you spend your time on something. So it's not always money. It can be time, whatever. But being willing to find answers, being willing to learn, to be a lifelong learner, like, I am still learning. There are things that this business changes. The team that you have now will look different a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Some of those people will still be there, and some of them won't. You have to continue to grow yourself and grow yourself as a leader if you want to grow a successful business. If the business changes, you have to change with it. And you have to be willing to do that and not get too comfortable. And so if there's an area that you're weak in, then invest in some personal development or something that you can listen to, or training. Like, you don't necessarily have to wait for your coaches to hand feed you certain information. Like, go after it, go get it, and commit to that part of being resourceful. If there's an event, make sure you go to it. I can't say enough about events. My business changed a lot from going to Super Saturdays, especially in those early days. I didn't think it was really necessary, and I really struggled with it because I was away from my kids like all week long, and then Saturday came and I was like, oh, I don't want to go to Super Saturday. That's just another like day that I'm away from them. But I remember one time when I did that, they were announcing the 5-step process. And so if you've been around for a long time, maybe, it was Tommy Migrant, and he was talking and going through this 5-step process of how you invite people. And that was my missing link. Like, that's what I was missing. My coach just naturally does a great job of connecting and talking to people. That was a skill that I had to learn because I was not good at that. I was not good at initiating conversations with people. I was not good at asking questions. I wasn't good at any of that. And so the great thing about this is that it's all a skill, right? You can learn any part of this, and you're not going to be good at all of it to start with. So when I went to that Super Saturday, it was like a system. And I can do systems, right? I can do step 1, step 2, step 3. I can do that. So I went home and I did that like nobody's business, and that's when things took off. So you never know when you're going to hear something or learn something that changes your business forever. And that's part of being resourceful and investing in yourself, in your business, in your team. Because when you learn, then you get to pass that on to your team as well, and then they get to learn and benefit from that. So in a nutshell, this is how I went about owning my own giant, and how you can too. And so just like sweat equity is how you make progress in your fitness, so growth equity is how you're going to make progress in your business. And I think we live in a world where it's really like we just expect things to happen immediately, right? We just have like this drive-through mentality, and we want results now. We want our business to be in a certain place now. We want a full-time income now. We want all this happen now. But there aren't any drive-through breakthroughs. I heard this the other day. I was listening to a sermon, and this was in the sermon. I think it's by Joyce Meyer, so it's not for me. But I was like, that is so true, because you have to go through the process, right? You have to grow to your goals. And what's really crazy is that, so like for my team this year, our word is grow. Like that's been our word all year. Every time I get on a team call, we talk about this slide right here, about growing to your goals. So if you have the goal to be diamond by next week and you don't hit it, but you're closer, then you grew to your goals. You learned something about yourself and your team and your business, and that matters. And so your business is only going to grow as much as you do. So if you don't commit to growing, then your business is just flat not going to happen. You have to commit to growing yourself in order to grow your team. And if you'll set big goals, then you're going to have some big growth in order to get to those big goals. If you set little goals, then you don't have to do a whole lot, right? You don't have to stretch yourself a whole lot. So in order to hit a big goal, you're going to have to grow big and grow a lot. And you're going to have to commit yourself to personal development and learning as much about yourself and this business as you can. And so the other thing that I share with our team a lot is that you grow yourself and then you grow your tribe. And it doesn't happen vice versa. You can't grow your tribe and then grow yourself. One thing precedes the other. Your business can grow quickly, but it won't grow quickly by itself. And to me, this is the beautiful part of what we do, because you can impact certain people. I can impact certain people, but we can impact more people together. And if I can teach somebody else how to run a challenge group, and that person can teach somebody else how to run a challenge group, then we're changing a lot of lives together. And so your business won't grow quickly unless you enlist the help of other people and grow a team and learn how to duplicate those things that are working well for you in your business. So I'll just leave you with this quote by Anthony or Tony Robbins. A real decision is measured by the fact that you've taken a new action. If there's no action, then you haven't truly decided. And I kind of told y'all before, like, taking action is my wheelhouse. Like, that is a strength of mine, right? And I see this a lot. So a lot of people want a certain outcome, but they're not willing to take the action or commit to the growth that it takes to get there. And so, like I said, there's no way that I could possibly lead a team of over 6,000 people with the Amber that I was when I started this. There's no way. I've had to grow into that person. So I had made a post the other day about my office, because my office just used to be my kitchen table, right? And so I got to redecorate this office that I have now, like a couple of weeks ago. And I had some coaches make a comment, "Oh, I just want to be her when I grow up." And so I took a big deep breath on that, and then I went to the group that we're in together, and I went live in there, and I said, "Oh no, you don't want to be me when you grow up. You want to be you, and you want to be the very best version of you, and you don't want my struggles. You don't want my story, just like I don't want yours. You have to be you, and you can't look to the left and you can't look to the right. You just have to be so laser focused on your vision and your why that you're doing this, and then you have to take action. And if you're truly committed to those things, you don't even see anything else. Like for me, like I didn't even see the fact that they changed the formula for Shakeology and it tasted horrible for like 6 months. I didn't even see that. That really happened, by the way. I didn't see that. All I saw was the fact that nobody's going to stop me from staying home with my kids, period. And so you really just have to make a decision, and all of your actions will stem from that. And that is how you grow and own your giant. And thank you for letting me talk.
Okay, so that was a huge deal. Amber, if you'll click on, there you go. Guys, you now know why we asked Amber to speak on our call, because she is a powerhouse and she's a giant, and I think she stands all of like 5'1", maybe.
Just yeah, maybe 5'2".
5'2". We'll say 5'2". Sorry. But honestly though, a couple of key takeaways that I had from this is, number one, obviously taking action, but two, being willing to be uncomfortable. And I can say this personally for myself, the times that I have grown the most in life, specifically the last 26 months, have been because I have stretched myself and I was uncomfortable for I don't know how long. But what I realized is that that part of growth is being okay with being uncomfortable. And you're not always going to be uncomfortable in those situations. So if we take action, even though it makes us uncomfortable, we're going to be in a good place. And not only that, keeping our minds focused, so focused on our why and the motives for being coaches. So Amber, I can't thank you enough for being here, for sharing all this. Guys, we're going to post this in the Mamas and Papas here shortly. And Amber, just want to tell you thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I want to thank all of our coaches for being here. And for those of you who are watching the recording, take action and be all in, because if we stay focused, then significant and important people we can find. We can find those people who are significant and who are important, who need change. And once we find those people, then we have the tools to lead them where they need to go. And that's not only in a fitness journey, but also with the business as well. So thanks guys for showing up. Amber, again, thank you very much. Tons of nuggets, guys. We'll post this in the team page and we'll let you guys go. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.